The one slide that I want to show to the audience was exactly what is the structure of the European Banking Union. You mentioned that it's very clear. You have three main elements. Single supervision, single authorization of banks, and supervision. We are striving for a single resolution regime consisting of a resolution authority and a resolution fund, because this is another element. And also the deposit guarantee scheme, the pan-European one, which to my understanding is the leg which is not going to be accomplished in the years to come. This is for the later. At the same time, probably I have to say that, and you mentioned that a single banking union requires also single rules. So you need a single rule, both for the regulation of banks, for the resolution of banks, and for deposit guarantee schemes. The idea to create a pan-European supervisory authority is not really new. It came about again, and as a matter of fact, started last June, when the bold decision was taken to give the European Commission the mandate to further the discussions. But I remember back in the 80s and the 90s, quite probably even in 2005 and 2007, there were lots of politicians, more academicians, were thinking that a single banking union was required. And the underlying reason was that apart from the asymmetry that we have within the European economic and monetary union between the E and the M, while the M is a full union, while the E is not, you have a second asymmetry, which is you have given over to the European Central Bank some of the functions of central banks, and you have not given the banking supervision. So this kind of asymmetry has been allocated for a long time, and is also reflected in the treaty itself, which gives a legal basis in the future for the ECB to become a single supervisory authority. According to this article 127, paragraph 6, they are going to give specific tasks conferred to the ECB. So this is the whole idea of the European Banking Union, to create a pan-European structure like you have it in the field of banking regulation, supervision, and crisis management as you have in monetary union. But this is quite difficult to achieve, and you mentioned several of the obstacles which exist. There are 2 points which I would like to raise. We don't have a lot of time. I would love to discuss with you for a long time on what you said.
We will try to be
okay, that would be very pleasurable. First of all, answering to Mr. Gortsos on the responsibility of lenders and borrowers, I would intrigue you a little bit, telling also the responsibility of the European political system with regard to the investments in government bonds. And in particular, I should remind you, you know that very well, that according to existing European law, which the European Parliament and the Council have adopted, based on the rules of the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, there is an existing regulation saying that if you are a Greek bank or a German bank, let's say a German bank, and you are a member of the OECD, and you invest as a bank in government bonds of your country denominated in the local currency, then the risk weight of this investment is 0. So, the sin that the Greek banks have done during all these years was that they invested in 0 risk weighted assets. We should keep that in mind because we all know that in Greece the banking system has mainly been depleted and it needs a lot of recapitalization mainly because of the investments in Greek government bonds and of course because of the recession which has taken place in the last years, increasing the NPLs and increasing the need to capitalize.
Can I just say that it is not because the law authorizes you to do stupid things that you should do them. I mean, the bank could say, I know that these bonds are supposedly zero risk, but I do not think that they are, and therefore I went back to Poland. So to me, again, the law is wrong. I agree with you, and we tried to change it in CR4, but there was huge opposition against that. And again, you can't say that a signature of a member state is not completely safe, but then again, the banks were not forced to buy green bank bonds.
No, definitely not. As a matter of fact, you do not force the banks. It's against the treaty. It's 124 of the treaty, which you cannot force banks to buy bonds. I just wanted to raise this issue as well. The second aspect is the fact that the extent that we have a single supervisory mechanism and the extent that the ECB will become an European banking supervisor, only banking, not capital markets, not insurance companies, only banking, then the possibility cannot be excluded that the Greek government, that the Greek debt, part of the Greek debt, would be transferred to the ESM in the sense that the cost of the capitalization of the banks would not anymore be part of the Greek debt as it is today. The ESM borrowing to the Greek government placing with the Hellenic Financial Stability Fund, the Financial Stability Fund buying the government on the bonds of the capital, share capital of the banks, but it would be a direct link. So, to our understanding, this could be a positive externality of the creation of the European Banking Union. The last point, which was very interesting, as you stated that before, has to do with the independence of the ECB. And I understand that you were quite critical on this. I can expect that you might also be critical on the independence of the ECB altogether, not only with regard to its supervisory, but distinguished very clearly, stating that even if I can accept that it should be independent in the course of the implementation of the monetary policy, it should not be in the case of banking supervision. To my understanding, there is another danger which is much more important than the one that you are stating there. It's the fact that if you do not have a clear separation between the monetary function and the supervisory function, there might be a lot of conflict. And the possibility cannot be excluded, and I hope that this day will never come, that the ECB should, on the one hand, keep interest rates high because there might be inflation, and on the other hand, a large bank will be failing. A Deutsche Bank will be failing. So in this case, it would be obvious that the ECB should not be ready to take the correct measures in order to counterbalance the differing interests. So this is another point that has been taken into account during your discussions in the tripartite group. I followed the discussion very much, but I understand that this is major. I stop here. I would like to say more, but thank you.